Teenagers as young as 14 could soon be allowed to work late-night shifts as part of an effort to roll back the state's child labor laws.
Senate Bill 918 would remove employment time restrictions for teenagers ages 14 and 15 if they're homeschooled or attend virtual school. It would also remove limitations on how late or how much 16 and 17-year-olds can work. The proposal comes as Governor Ron DeSantis says that a younger workforce could be part of the solution to replacing labor from migrants in the country illegally. Right now, teenagers ages 16 and 17 cannot work before 6:30 in the morning or after 11 p.m. on a school day, and they can't work during school hours unless they are in a career education program. Teens are also limited to 30 hours a week when school is in session. A similar bill failed to pass the legislature last year. Public backlash claimed that longer hours would impact their health and education.
For some families, having the teenagers work is not a luxury. It's a basic, it's how they help pay the bills. Dr. McManus, for those families, how can we best protect them with these pieces of legislation?
A lot of it is going to lie with the employers who hire these young people. Responsibility, and there has to be some sort of tracking of misuse and so forth. But here again, there is a real big split on this issue, and it's got a long way to go too. One is, this is not good at all. It's child abuse, not only from a health perspective and mental perspective, but also from an educational perspective, that their schooling takes a back seat, and that's not a good thing. On the other side, you have arguments, this is a good thing because we're not teaching young people about the viability of working and about economics, and it would be up to the parent or, together with the student to decide whether they would do it or not. In terms of the labor, the three industries that would be most affected and are affected by the immigrants leaving, listen to what they are in the order of importance in our state: tourism, agriculture, construction. And so for young people, those are where most of the jobs are going to be. Some are more taxing physically and mentally than others.
And other states do have similar laws. Victor, what are the pros and cons that you see to this?
Well, I know we have a couple of farmers on the panel here, but I don't know about milking cows at 3 in the morning is a good idea. Some of these bills simultaneously are I saw ages of 13 and 14 allow kids to work at that young age. And as Dr. McManus says, I don't know how you put a kid out in the field. A lot of people criticize the Mexicans that are busting their tails here to pick our fruits and our vegetables out in Ruskin and everywhere else. But the fact of the matter is, that's very hard labor. If you've ever been out there like I have to see these people work and putting, these 80, 100-pound sacks of whether it's oranges or tomatoes or whatever, and in Mexico you make $2 an hour. They're making a lot more money here and sending half the money back. The sad part is you can't put a 13-year-old, as Dr. McManus says, out in the field in the hot sun, working 30 hours a week, and then be able to do his schoolwork and be effective. And construction, I've done construction myself. It's very dangerous. Right. You could get killed. That's also very heavy lifting for a 13 or 14-year-old working 30 hours a week. And I don't care if they cut them off at 10:30 at night or 6:30 in the morning. That's all. This is it's just sad that Republicans and the business people that support them are even pursuing this. And then of course the other part of the bill is that they want to cut the minimum wage in half. So you're going to be making half of the minimum wage, and then classify you as a trainee or an intern. And there's no end to where the internship. You could be working 6 years as an intern, 6 years as a trainee for half the minimum wage. So it's just they should just scrap this idea. There's plenty of people out there that want to work, that can work, and not worry about slave driving the 13-year-olds out in the fields to pick tomatoes.
Well, Deborah, I see you shaking your head. In our show prep, you were saying that there are some positive things that can come of this. Please share that with our audience.
Absolutely positive aspects. Number one, I believe that we have too much regulation over parents as it is, and all of the regulations we currently have on the books preventing this, preventing that. I grew up in a farm family. My father grew up in a farm family. Everyone worked. It turned out well. My father said you either work with your brains or you work with your back, so it's kind of a motivating factor to be working. My brother was working, driving the tractor, doing everything at 8, 10 years old, as much as, and still went to school. Yeah. So many of the farm families, I know their kids become doctors and lawyers, and they've worked shift work. They've
so
worked.
You said it's foundational.
So I think it's parental rights. I think we need to remove the regulations. This bill actually would line up with federal regulations, and then you still have your OSHA in your workplace, so there's no slave labor going to occur. There's still going to be safe conditions. It could be a job at Publix, bagging groceries. I've known so many people to do that. We didn't have those regulations when I grew up.
We really can't talk about teenagers, school-aged children, without talking about the impact that it could have in their education and in their school time. Daryl, as a former professor, how do you see this affecting teenagers?
Well, to me, there's two different issues here. One is the educational aspects for students. Are they going to work so hard? Because right now they can't work over 30 hours a week. When this changes come into place, how many hours are they going to be? Unlimited hours for them. They can work overnight shifts according to the legislation proposed. How are they going to go to school and work overnight shifts at the same time? How is that going to impact their scores, whether or not they get into college? They may have some money in their pocket today, but 10, 20 years down the road, will they have wished they had gone and gotten a better education, whether it's a college education or a trade education, but something that would have made them better off in the long term? The other thing, who's going to protect them? What if you can work these longer hours now and your boss says, okay, well, you've already got your 30 hours in, you need to work an extra 5 hours. And you say, I'm too tired, I can't do it. And this is a dangerous job. I'm afraid I'll make a mistake and injure myself or somebody else. He said, you either work or you're fired. So we've already seen where Purdue Farms was fined $8 million because in the slaughterhouses, the children of the migrant workers who were working in these slaughterhouses were also put to work at minimum wage, sub-minimum wages, to assist their parents in getting the job done. So I think
there's a lot to look at.
People will take advantage of the workforce, whatever it is, whatever age it is.